The second question is from Mr. David Warwick. Thank you, Mr. Warwick. And the question and its response have been circulated to members. Start of the meeting and will be taken as read. I would like to remind members that no discussion is held on this question. Mr. Warwick, I'd like to invite you to ask your supplementary question.
Thank you.
You have one.
Yeah. So in the response I received, it says that the average time taken to complete EHCP assessment in Leicestershire is currently around 35 weeks, reduced from previous figure of 42 weeks. My supplementary question is, according to the Special Needs Jungle Local Authority Hall of Shame, Leicestershire are 5th most likely to refuse an EHC needs assessment and top least likely to meet the EHCP 20-week deadline with 3% and 40% respectively. My supplementary question is, does the 35-week period quoted include those applications which are refused or rejected but then taken to tribunal successfully by the parents and the guardians at tribunal? And if not, what is the average time, including this, and how many tribunal applications in Leicestershire are successful? That's A. And in relation to question B, from the Cabinet report that was presented to Cabinet on June the 23rd of 23, there is a report from a diagnostic review held by Newton Europe Consultancy, engaged through a competitive tendering process. In that, they state there were opportunities for 34% of children and young people with an EHCP in mainstream provision to have their needs met without an EHCP. So my supplementary question is, how, well, my members who work in schools, teaching assistants, business managers, etc., they want to know how, with rising numbers of children presenting with high needs and challenging behaviours, are support staff and or the school budget supposed to cope if 34% of children on EHCPs have their EHCP withdrawn? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask the opposite. Is it coming to you, Jane? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So just in response to the first question, the average time taken to complete an education, health and care plan includes all of the education, health and care plan assessments that are undertaken. So yes, it does include those plans that are instructed under tribunal. The time taken, so the 35 weeks, is the time taken from the point at which the EHCP assessment was agreed until its completion. In respect of the second part of that question around how many tribunal applications in Leicestershire were successful, what we know is that in 2023, 94, so nearly 95% of tribunals ruled against the local authority. So in favour of the parent. I haven't got the breakdown of how many of those are around assessments, but the majority of tribunals rule against the local authority. In relation to the second question, so the deep dive into SEN services that we've outlined in the papers today took place at the beginning of the programme, and it reviewed the journey of children and young people who were in non-mainstream settings, and it was focused on opportunities for improved outcomes for those children, and certainly looked at what could have been done earlier on in the education journey. So across mainstream schools, we know that there's a whole range of support that's available to support children with special educational needs and disabilities without the need for an education, health and care plan. And the deep dive that took place did look at the journey of those children who had an education, health and care plan in mainstream schools, but on some occasion did identify that those needs could have been met either earlier or without an education, health and care plan. And there's a wealth of resource within schools and expertise in ordinarily available mainstream provision that does and can support children with SEND outside of an EHCP. Now, what that data doesn't say is that we are going to remove EHCPs from children that had them. It was about looking at the journey of children and whether or not there were things that could have been done differently for those children, which meant that their needs could have been met earlier or indeed without an education, health and care plan. Things like through SEN support and other things that are available within schools.
Thank you very